Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we're talking retinol, and why a lot of people are talking about how retinol serums like this one from The Ordinary might not be as effective as we first thought. There's a lot of ongoing debate online at the moment about retinol as an ingredient, saying actually it's not effective when it comes to anti-aging, and if we're investing in a retinol serum, we're wasting our time and our money. This is certainly getting a lot of attention because I know a lot of you guys have asked me just how effective retinol is in the comments section over the past couple of months. I recently watched a video by Lab Muffin, who's one of my favourite content creators here on YouTube, and I'll link that video in the description box below, where she actually talks about how effective retinol is and concludes that there are a lot of studies and data points to show just how amazing it can be as an ingredient if used correctly. On the back of that video, which I definitely, like I say, would recommend everyone check out, I wanted to talk a bit further, take it to the next step and talk about how, as consumers, we might feel a little underwhelmed with our retinoids and our retinol in particular, and how actually maybe we should set our expectations and talk about what results we really can expect from this hero ingredient. Sit back, relax, let's talk how effective is retinol. Now, before we get into this video, I would of course love to know your own retinol experiences. Share with me your retinol before and after stories in the comments section below. Of course, what I'm talking about today, just my thoughts, feelings and opinions, and I would love to hear yours. I really do want to get this message out there loud and clear because I think a lot of us will have a retinoid of some description in our routine and hopefully we're getting the results that we want. However, if we're not, it's important to kind of understand why. So if you want to help me to get this message out there loud and clear, give this video a big thumbs up and a like. This honestly will just encourage YouTube to distribute this video to as wider audience as possible. Now, without further ado, let's cut that waffle and delve straight on in. So, retinol, what is it? What can it do? Well, retinol is one of the family of retinoids, which they're all similar, though they work in different ways, and are derived from vitamin A. Retinol is certainly the most popular and accessible of the retinoids, which is why I think it's been focused down on for this increased scrutiny. We've also had some tightening up of legislation around retinol in particular, which I think has again fed into this conversation. So retinoids are great because they can increase cell turnover, which can help minimize hyperpigmentation. They boost collagen and elastin production in the skin, which can over time minimize the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and they're also potent antioxidants and can even help minimize breakouts. With all these amazing benefits, it's not hard to see why people really started to latch onto retinoids as being like wonder ingredients for our skincare routine. And honestly, I'd never be without mine. But there are some things I think which could be feeding into the narrative that as consumers we're maybe not getting the benefits we were promised or we hoped for from retinol. In this section of the video, I'm going to talk about some of those factors, so hopefully as consumers we can be fully informed and we kind of know what's going to work best for our skin. So I think the first issue with retinol is a little bit of over-promising and under-delivering. This isn't necessarily the fault of the ingredient, but rather the brands that market it. So as with anything, skincare, be it films, skincare, cars, whatever you're buying, of course brands want to hype up their individual product to attract our attention. This is definitely the case with retinol serums, where you'll hear often words like the wonder, the hero, the this, that. Everything's hyped up, and so we'll reach for a retinoid serum expecting miracles, and then when the results fall short of that, we kind of blame the ingredient. Actually, we should be blaming the brand and saying, you know what, brands have a responsibility to us as consumers to clearly outline what we can expect from the product, and that way we kind of go into it with our eyes open. Of course, with retinol being the ingredient of the moment, brands are going to be promoting it, but I always say, let's just set our expectations right. Retinol can absolutely increase collagen production in the skin. Like I said, check out that Lab Muffin video that I referenced earlier, where she goes into this in more detail and how it works and some of the studies to back it up. It can also help increase cell turnover to fade hyperpigmentation. However, it's not going to be a cure-all. You're not going to apply your retinol serum and after a couple of weeks, gone like that. Whatever issue you're having with the skin, corrected. I think skincare needs to be seen holistically. We need to use ingredients in combination with each other to get the maximum results. So using a retinoid consistently will have some great benefits, but it doesn't mean that you can do away with every other ingredient in your skincare collection or that you should expect it to just deliver on its own. And I think brands have a part to play in terms of setting our expectations, and hopefully that'll change a little bit as we go into 2024. Secondly, when it comes to retinol, concentration is key. And in an ideal world, I'd love every brand to be transparent about the concentrations of the actives in their products. This is certainly something that I try to aspire to when it comes to my own skincare brand, but unfortunately, not all brands really do this. And so a retinol cream might have a super high concentration or a super low one. In order to call something a retinol cream, it just has to have a trace amount of that key ingredient in it. And brands know this. And so you'll often find products such as the hyper popular Olay Regenerist retinol cream, which doesn't actually tell you the percentage in there. We can take an educated guess that it's pretty much on the low side by looking at that ingredients list and just some of the anecdotal data that's out there. However, without actually knowing, you don't really know what you're putting on your skin. It's for that reason that two seemingly identical retinol creams with different percentages could give you outrageously different results. You also need to match the concentration you reach for to your individual level of skin sensitivity, which is why I think it's super important. As consumers, we know what we're putting on our skin. Traditionally, people will reach for something in the region of about a 1% retinol, which gives you great results. However, studies have shown that even a low concentration, like something like 0.5% or 1/3%, can actually give some real meaningful benefits. However, again, helping us to set our expectations. If we know the strength, we can kind of work out how long it's going to take to see those results. So if you've reached for a retinol cream and been underwhelmed with the outcomes you've got, question, do you actually know the strength? And maybe it's just a case that retinol is a minuscule concentration in that particular formula, which is why we're not getting the results we want. Thirdly, I think we need to understand retinoids, the family of this vitamin A derivative, in a bit more detail. Retinol might be the most popular and it might be the most accessible, but it doesn't mean it's the best for everyone. And as I said earlier in the video, different retinoids work differently, they have different interactions with the skin, and so it's worth taking all of this into account when you choose the right one for you. Now, if you want something that's super easy to get your hands on with a lot of choice in the market, retinol might be your go-to. However, other retinoids might just work better. For example, retinal with an A, not an O, is proven to actually be more effective in terms of that delivery than retinol because it goes through fewer conversions to get to the retinoic acid that our skin needs to deliver the benefits. It's also proven to be less sensitizing on the majority of skin types. Therefore, if you have super sensitive skin, a retinal might actually be better in terms of performance and experience than a retinol. Doesn't mean that retinol is useless, it just means that maybe you could switch it up to get better outcomes. Granactive retinoid is another variant in this retinoid family, again proven to be a little bit more effective than retinol and less sensitizing. And so I think these newer generation ingredients might just be replacing standard retinol in terms of delivery, and maybe as consumers we're a little bit slow to catch on to that. Eventually, you'll see an increase in retinal and granactive retinoid products. That's already happening. So as I think as consumers, as we become more acquainted with these variants, we'll be getting better outcomes, less sensitivity, and I think that will help reset our expectations when it comes to retinoids in general. One of my favorite of the granactive retinoids is this one by The Ordinary. This is their 2% emulsion. Great performance, less sensitivity, and I actually found this worked really well on my acne-prone skin. I'm going to link this one in the description box below. Also, if you're looking for a retinal, I created my own. This is the Mad About Skin Ultimate Anti-Aging Oil, which for the rest of November, currently buy one, get one free. If you fancy trying it, maybe experimenting with retinal, now is the time to do it. Again, linked in the description box below. No code needed. All you do is put 2 of them in your basket, and then when you get to checkout, you'll find that one of them completely free of charge. Just because I created my own retinal, it doesn't mean that I think everyone should move away from retinol completely. It's all about making sure you choose the right form for your individual skin's needs. If you want something super easy that you can walk into the drugstore, pick up on the shelf, and you don't have a lot of skin sensitivity, retinol will probably serve you well. If you've got a more sensitive skin type, or you're looking for slightly advanced performance, then maybe switching to a retinal or a granactive retinoid, still available without prescription, but will probably deliver you better results. Set your expectations and choose the right one aligned to your skin's needs. Now finally, let's talk about the tretinoin purists and that whole conversation going on online. So tretinoin is a form of retinoid. Traditionally it's prescription only in a lot of countries, and you know, it is king because it has the most data and studies sitting behind it to back up just how effective it is when it comes to fighting acne and, you know, minimizing fine lines and wrinkles. Often it's held up as being the gold star because it's got so much data to show how effective it is, and honestly, you can't take that away from it. However, Tretinoin, like any other ingredient in skincare, it isn't going to be for everyone. We have the tretinoin purists that say if you're not using tret, you're wasting your time. Don't bother with any of the other over-the-counter options. Tretinoin or forget it. And I think what that actually takes away in terms of the conversation is that for a lot of people, tretinoin either doesn't work, it can't be tolerated. Certainly on my skin, it was far too sensitizing. My skin couldn't tolerate it, and so it was actually my dermatologist that recommended I switch to something else. People, for a lot of people, don't have access to a dermatologist or, the means of getting that prescription in order to access it. And, it just isn't the choice for everyone out there. Now, if you're using tretinoin, cling onto it like it's your best friend, especially if your skin can tolerate it, because you're going to get some next level game-changing results. However, if you can't tolerate tretinoin, you don't want to go through the hassle of getting a prescription, or maybe it's just not right for you, know that actually the over-the-counter options will still deliver. They'll still give you some great results in the long term, and so hopefully we can turn this conversation on its head. The tretinoin purists, the ones that, it works well for them, honestly, I'm envious. It didn't work for me, but it doesn't mean that everything else is null and void and we have to avoid it. And I think part of this, conversation is being driven by people that say, literally, tret or don't bother with the rest. And, that's not the case. There's choice in the skincare market for a reason, and we should use what works for us, our skin, aligns to our price point and accessibility. Really what I want to demonstrate in this video, actually, is if you see conversations online, people saying retinol is useless, avoid it, it's wasting your time and your money. Know that actually there are plenty of studies that show how effective it is. It might just be that as consumers, we need to think a little bit harder around whether retinol is right for us specifically. Are we setting our expectations, or are we being led by the marketing of the brands? Are we choosing the right retinoid for our individual skin's needs? And, are we looking overall about how retinol can then pair with other ingredients in our routine to give us the maximum benefit? I think anyone that's choosing to demonize retinol is doing so probably without an understanding of everything that sits behind it. And I would definitely recommend that you check out that Lab Muffin video, which I think was really fair and balanced in terms of what retinol can and can't deliver. I've linked it, like I said, in the comment section below, and I just want to say thank you to Lab Muffin for actually getting some of these conversations started and taking an unbiased view, which can be a little bit difficult to find online, which is one of the main reasons she's one of my favorite content creators. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions in the comment section below, and wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, I love your skin. Take care. Bye.